Takasing Shungden de la Yang, and in Gondrola Tumong Datumong Mayan Gondro, Tejala Shineda Ladong, Tenechu Juba, Jongwa de Yanga Yuben Ne, and the Kazan Shanlodi, Capture Muchi, Sung Shabadi, Matudusk, Lo Shana, Nambatula Yang, and Capture Muchi, Marangi Palden Savilama, Tene, she couldn't Capda, Ne. Yonsenki Tango Rinpoche sung di chenlap chenpo yodu keranzo la tene chik nyam toba peya re deba da mugu peya la tene pendo chepo yodu samso nga dudu shima login.
Now please think to yourselves that we must bring all of our mothers, all sentient beings throughout space to the omniscient state of completely perfect Buddhahood with the 4 kayas and the 5 wisdoms. And in this way, listen to these teachings this morning with the motivation of bodhicitta. The Dharma that we are listening today is the short Vajradhara prayer. And this has 3 main sections. There's the introductory matter, there's the actual text, and then there is the concluding matter. And among these 3, we have already been through the introductory matter, and now we are speaking about the main part of the text. The main portion of the text has, according to Kenshin Trungpa Rinpoche's explanation, it has 5 different topics. The first is the preliminaries, and there are the common preliminaries and the special preliminaries. And then there is the actual practice of shamatha and insight meditation. And finally, it concludes with a section on the conduct. So I thought we could speak about this in brief in order so that you could be able to have like a good idea of the text. And I am teaching it according to the teachings of Kenshin Trungpa Rinpoche. Of course, Kenshin Trungpa Rinpoche's words have great blessings in themselves, and because they have such blessings, then I think it will help us develop, it will help you develop experience and realization. It will help you develop it will help you increase your faith and devotion.
And the drawer jebala, gangbota res, then the Kurwala Shembache Yomares, Kurwala Shembache Bayana, Tambi Chudu to Mares, Denane, Mixel Chagya Chembo Yamlen, Chetugu Mares, Shembayona, Barche Yores, Dindu, Shembadan Tergores.
So yesterday we spoke about the first of these, the common preliminaries, just as revulsions taught to be the legs of meditation. So we need to free ourselves from the suffering of samsara and reach the state of omniscient Buddhahood. And in order to do that, revulsion is like the legs for going there. So what this is saying is that we must not be attached to samsara. If we are attached to samsara, then we will not be able to practice dharma. We will, in particular, not be able to practice Mahamudra. So attachment is an obstacle, and therefore we must eliminate it.
Tadinani Senor Kunla Chashen Mabada Suyukala, Senor Longju, Mingyanda Duzalaya, Shemba Tagores, Dilla Shemba Chimbo Jona, Tane Rani Tambichu to Mares, that makes Zeldo, and the Chagi Chimbiam, the younger Mares, in the Sonja.
And in particular, it says that we must not cling to any food or wealth. We must be free of clinging for these temporary sorts of pleasures. If we do cling to them, then we will not be able to practice the Dharma, and in particular, we will be unable to practice Mahamudra. And the antidote, or the remedy for attachment, is to have few desires and be content. In other words, we also have to have mindfulness, awareness, and carefulness.
Senor Longianare, Minyanare, Tamje Medabe Ranjin res, Medabe Chuni res, Temboyo mares, Tam Medabala Samlota in the Bay, Kachambore, and the Sonja.
So whether it's food and wealth or whether it is friends and family, all of them are by nature impermanent, and they are not stable and lasting. And so for that reason, we must, in order to free ourselves from attachment, we must contemplate impermanence.
That's dange ne metabala samlo tandu kapsala ne khashela rashingi samba kibu meba drabo magaba drabo ta dinde yongyu ares enayan di samba kibu meba enaya metabara de kabu enaya metabara de metaba Dhamchela yongegi rashin rede enayan dinde chi metaba komdo kala majiba damada ta dinde samlo busudo boyan tango mares.
Now, when we meditate on impermanence, some people just naturally get unhappy. They naturally feel depressed or unhappy about it. They don't like it. But whether we're happy about it or not, impermanence is the nature of everything. Everything's impermanent. It's the nature of everything. And so when we contemplate on impermanence, it's important for us not to have such a limited perspective.
다들 뒤진 수긴 다들 나라 미다바 공비 윤된 가리요레스 두가라 당부 아니 미다바 엠바당 되네지 세링부 메바 엠바당 다들에게 아버지 하거나 다 쳐주고도 상 당부 쳐로 꿀이 겐제그레스 바르도 레로왕도 쇼나야 다양 레로 전에 드기미도 삼네 준주로 꿀이 조제그레스 다 겐제그레스 송전리도.
So if we think about the benefits of meditating on impermanence, when we think about how everything is impermanent and how this life is not long, then it makes us feel like we need to practice the Dharma. And so it is like a condition that, that inspires us to practice the Dharma. In the middle, during our practice, sometimes we get lazy, and so meditating on impermanence is an aid for us to become diligent.
Tamade any tebuto betrojegeres tambichu lada trumato bala truptoba truduka salaya the namyanda lelo on the drona yamida betena then tambichu la hanja tundu somtoba then tamadea then tebuto bela betroje then the youngers the indio any Kagyu Monlam Dhamchoe ne tama chidi and midabi damadi sunangyores.
In the end, it's an aid for us for achieving the result. When we're unable to practice, if we meditate on impermanence, then we become able to practice. When we get lazy, meditating on impermanence inspires us to be diligent. And then in the end, it helps us achieve the result. And so, as all of the great Kagyu masters have said, there's only one pith instruction, and that is to meditate on impermanence.
Now there's a
lot that could be said about this, but if I spend all my time speaking about the four thoughts that turn the mind, then I won't have any time to say anything about the actual practice, so we will just leave it for there.
And then number she soon yore, then dig up the Chanung Manala, Tendundi, and the Kalsons and Mugu come je Kor, Sumbashin, Menaterco Jebe, Lamala, Gundu Sowa Debi, Comzenla, Jimmy Mugutia or Jingelos.
Now, when we speak about the next topic, the special preliminaries, when we practice them, there are the four special preliminaries. What is taught explicitly in the Vajradhara lineage prayer is this: just as devotion is taught to be the head of meditation, continually this meditator supplicates the Guru, who opens up the doorway to the trove of pith instructions. Please bless me so that uncontrived devotion may well forth.
Shemba Chuno Tango Godos, the Dhamchoe Godos, Deben na Gangba Mebana Jingres, Tanibody, Gangba your Trocho by Nayang, and a good Mebana, Aranzo Gita, make it die and a Nye and a Nume and a Sayan, Chatan Gola, you do up so, 고대배 개첨부 차들 다 무구디 하장기 고치 개첨부 차들에 차대첨부 하면 잡발라.
So when we are practicing Mahamudra, what is the first thing we need? The first thing we need to have is to have no attachment to the pleasures of samsara. That means we need to have few desires and be content. And if we don't have then it's like we have no legs in our practice and we won't be able to get anywhere. But even if you have legs, if you don't have a head, you can't go anywhere, because with your head, you have your eyes that can see, your ears that hear, your nose that smells, and so forth. You have all the senses that tell you where to go. And so the head is really important. In the same way, this is telling us how important the devotion is for, that devotion is extremely important for practice.
고로송바신세 담그 제사 율데 술라레스 되가 맹아 때고 제베 라마라 소요레 당하란라 차제 침부기 맹아 낭엔 왕 상하기 왕굴 규제 맹아 동에게 라마 데라니 다 맹아 망보 때기 고체라 되가 맹아 조다메바 데네 낭에게 라마들라 다 소하다고 그래 소하데베율.
So who do we feel devotion for? Well, as it says, continually this meditator supplicates the Guru who opens up the doorway to the trove of pith instructions. So we're supplicating to the Guru who gives us the pith instructions on Mahamudra, the one who gives us the empowerments and the teachings on the tantras, the one who gives us all of the instructions. So we are prostrating to the Guru who is like the storehouse or the trove of pith instructions. So as it says in the text, it says continually. So we need to continually supplicate the root and lineage gurus. It's not just temporary. We need to supplicate the gurus until we achieve enlightenment. We need to supplicate the gurus until we realize the nature of Mahamudra. And even after we've realized that, we still need to supplicate the gurus. So we need to supplicate the gurus continually.
Sunday, Sanjay Muda, Yermeba in Sunday, Tendriki the Netchi, Mugu Ketubana, and Sosola Sanjay, Mugu Rabla, Chinlab Rab Jugure, Mugu Jingla, Chinlab Jing Jugure, Mugu Tamala, Chinlab Tamama Juguamare, Mugu Rabla, Combaya Rab Yongure, then the Combo Rabting Taps on there, Sosogi Mugula Ralebare.
So how is it that we should have devotion for the lineage gurus and the root guru? Well, we should have the devotion of thinking they're a Buddha. They're inseparable from the Buddhas. That's the type of devotion that we should feel for the root and lineage gurus. And if our devotion, if we have the greatest devotion, then we'll receive the greatest blessings. If we have average devotion, then we'll have average blessings. If we have the least devotion, then we'll have the least blessings. And so if we have the greatest devotion, then we'll be able to develop the best meditation. It depends upon our devotion. So in the Kagyu lineage, we are said to be a transmission of devotion. So it's like everything we think of should be the Guru. Everything we remember should be the Guru. All that appears is the Guru. All that we hear is the Guru. So we should have this devotion of thinking that everything depends on the Guru.
Tata na tsikdila chumin mugu kebar chinjilo sen. Ta tambu chugu guyore nganzo lama hila ten lama gite ne ngarala labshabe. Tene da chaje chenbu gi nelu inayare wang grupa inayare gyushe ba inayare menga damba tezu ka dindizo yakbo chi ten lami yundun dizo yakbo chi ten ba na lama de tsa chenbu yin lama de kadin chenbu yin ngarang tene kurwa chidan chiragi tungal tezu le tarwa chebe lam tunge de lama yin tene dindriki lama de tsa chenbu yin samne semla takbor ten tene ta tegi lengye kitu gharachunay resa dosa de lama dima na me samne yila tende je drentu baya na tende lama de la yabu je soa tabshin tama di amam shuk gi rangshin gi je yungore jema mayin ba de tang tangbo di chue ni ta che za chen bo re ji lama yuden she de pe ge jen bo re kyubi lama zo yuden she de pe ge jen bo re yuden ma she na za chen bo ma ha go ma re tene deba ge ge ma re ten deba la tene mugu ge go go re deba le jang mugu de niba che wa che chaje chen bo kap zo la.
And so it says that we have to develop uncontrived devotion. So if we're uncontrived devotion, first you have to have contrived devotion. You have to think about the Guru. You have to think of that being able to realize the nature of Mahamudra, being able to receive empowerments, being able to receive instructions. All of this is because of the kindness of the Guru. You have to remember the Guru's qualities. And then when you think about these, when you remember these, then you begin to think how important the Lama's kindness is for you. You remember that it is the Guru who is able to bring us out of samsara, both out of samsara in general and into the specific samsara that we find ourselves. And so we should have we should be able to remember that no matter what happens, if it's happy and nice, then it's because of the Guru. If it is a difficulty or bad circumstances, then there's no hope other than the Guru, thinking that everything depends upon the Guru. And so if we are able to remember the Guru and develop this, then and supplicate in this contrived way, then eventually, naturally, spontaneously, uncontrived devotion will come forth. And so first we have to have the contrived devotion of thinking the Guru is important, the Guru is really helpful. The Guru, we think about the Guru's qualities. If we don't do this, then we'll never think that the Guru is important, and that we'll never remember the qualities. And so we need to first contrive the motivation, because devotion is extremely important for the practice of Mahamudra. And now I'd like to read a little bit from Kenshin Trongpa Rinpoche's words, just to help you have an idea of what he taught. I think this will be beneficial for you. So Rinpoche said that devotion is extremely important. And what we need to have devotion in are the advice and the pith instructions. And where do we get the advice and the pith instructions from? We get them from the root and lineage gurus.
And so
when we are practicing the instructions and the pith instructions, then we need to develop devotion. And in order to develop devotion, well, what do we need to do? We need to do the practice of Guru Yoga. And so when we meditate on Guru Yoga, we need to visualize all the Gurus, either above the crown of our head or in front of us. And then we need to pray to them and we need to supplicate.
다 되네 터도 어떤에 좀 다 랑기 지우주도 검 타라 아니 유빌라마 담제 왜 두슈네 자유라마 라팀 네 자유라마 네 숨래 오사카 마르팅숨 한 오사카 마르팅숨 직접 두트네 왕실렌 되네 제바네 데 가란주 줄레 진랍주그레스 자와다 유빌라마 담제진.
And so we visualize the gurus either above our head, in front of ourselves, the guru surrounded by the lineage gurus. In the end, the lineage gurus all dissolve into light and all melt into light and dissolve into the root guru. And then we imagine that light comes, white, red, and blue light comes from the guru's forehead, throat, and heart, and it dissolves into our own forehead, throat, and heart. And in this way, we receive the four empowerments and the blessings. Now, as like the aids to Guru Yoga, we do the rest of the four preliminary practices, but because of time, I will not speak about those. So the second one, the first one is refuge, the second is bodhicitta.
Chidangi da parudu chimbatula sobata and so saiki tap mambo yorite, tene sangaki kapso, maimba, mendela tene chosa.
And so and then after that we need to gather the accumulations and purify obscurations. And in order to gather the accumulations, generally we practice the 6 transcendences. There are many methods to practice these, but in general, in the secret mantra Vajrayana, we gather the accumulations by making mandala offerings.
And Tripa Changi Tabla Mambo Yorte, then Dada Capsula, then Sanga Giwanto, Jene, to Jesambacum de Latene, Tipashaba.
Now, the second aspect is that we need to purify our obscurations. And again, there are many methods to purify obscurations. But in the secret mantra Vajrayana, here we do the practice of Vajrasattva, which purifies our misdeeds and obscurations.
The Chine, the Mugudi, Jula, the Tempo Jada, the Lamichin Lab Juela, so good the Tibata Tibatam de Jansana, knew the Sama China, the Lamichin Lab Duzidia, Susu Nala Juna, Susulayan, Pemba, Mahombala, Semchen Shalayan, Pemba de Tilatene Yungure, the So Sa, Tibatam de Jangure, Monla, Chinlap, Yanda Portuba Jabalayan.
Now, in order to develop devotion with our being, we have to have this stable accumulation of merit. In order for it to be stable, in order for it to be good, we need to, and in order to receive the blessings, we need to gather the accumulations and purify obscurations. If we do so, then it will be beneficial for us. It will also be beneficial for other sentient beings. And so in this way, in order to receive the blessings, in order to develop devotion, we have to purify obscurations and gather the accumulation of merit. And when we receive the superior excellent blessings, then we're able to develop superior excellent samadhi. And so that is an explanation of the common preliminaries, the legs, a revulsion as the legs of meditation, and the special preliminaries, devotion as the head of meditation.
Jagan de Grenare, Sala de Grenare, Cambananda, Talagana, Caba de Grenaya, Tambotesa de Tentizabo, Tomemba Lulus, Chuna, some them bolden de Sorshi, some Chunjun, Togan, the Nechi, Jab the Testomokor, then de Calate, Tentana, Conduda, Ludonam Shides or some Lotan, 대제라 되네 또 많이 배단다 뭐 그럼 고를 좀 봐진지 되네 라면 나죠 다 대고라 고 담보들 가서 주빌라 맞죠 요 가장 더 제장제 될로 나로 다서 대저 다 지구조도 고면나 대저 야고 섬로당 대든들라 로도 남시 검 대제라 먼저다 아 림바데서 야보 제 살탑 타마데 라면 나죠 갑슬라 되네 저기 주네 되네 자빌라마라 되네 자빌라마야 되네 나 군주 군두지라신도 주네 대 내숨을 오사카 마탱 좀 트네 랑기 내숨라 되네 랑기 되네 영아 예숨지 지바담지 장 구송 투지 전랍 주밤 야나 구송 투기 왕토바 다 되네기 왕기 전랍 주 되네 다 츠기 왕라 소바 되네기 담마데 왕시바데 더 텔라마야 외도시네 랑기 지우네 마 쇼네 되네 제 다데서 대시 제바가 주메 닝가라 되네 대가라 셈르르 샤네 대문식이 냠렌디 제고고요래 다 드나딜라다 문실라 두고요래
So as we usually speak about, when we do practice, we first need to sit on a comfortable seat, whether it's a chair or a cushion on the floor, you sit on a comfortable seat. If you're sitting on a cushion on the floor, it's good to have a good meditation cushion that's about 4 finger widths in height. And you sit on that comfortably, you relax, and then you think about the 4 thoughts that turn the mind. Then you do the special preliminaries, the refuge and so forth, the special preliminaries. And then you think in particular at the beginning, you think about the lineage gurus. So you begin by reciting a supplication such as this Vajradhara prayer, where we talk about the lineage masters such as great Vajradhara, Tilopa, Naropa, and so forth, as we discussed the other day. And then, so once you've supplicated them, then you meditate on the 4 thoughts that turn the mind, then you do the stages of the special preliminaries. And then in the end, when you are practicing Guru Yoga, you imagine at the end of Guru Yoga that all the lineage gurus melt into the light and dissolve into the root guru. And after that, the root guru has become the embodiment of all the jewels. And so you imagine that the light shines from his 3 places into your 3 places. And because of this, it purifies all of your obscurations of body, speech, and mind. And in this way, you receive the blessings of the Guru's body, speech, and mind, or the empowerments of the Guru's body, speech, and mind. In the end, there is the word or 4th empowerment. And then finally, at the very end, the Guru melts into light and then dissolves into you through the crown of your head. And then you just rest, let your mind relax and rest. And so that brings us to the actual practice, the main practice.
Tadilla Mushi Dilla Tambo Kartungures na Shinetungure. Neshinegi Zawadi Karisumas Yeme Comji, Mushir Sumbashin, Kanshar Tobi, O Somati, Machi, Dekarchobi, Comjanla, Comja Lodanta or Jingelos.
And so when we talk about the main practice, we first start with shamatha meditation. So the shamatha meditation is taught in the text by the verse that reads, as non-distraction is taught to be the core of meditation, this meditator just remains, not altering at all, the fresh and pristine essence of whatever thought occurs. Please bless me to be free from thinking there's a meditation. So when we say that non-distraction is the core of meditation, this is saying that it's really important. It's like the basis for all worldly and transcendent meditations. In the Mahamudra tradition, we talk about beginning with focusing your mind on the pure or impure objects. For impure objects, these are like a twig or a pebble or something like that. And for the pure objects, these are like a statue of the Buddha or the body of the Buddha.
Chidangi kom jabdu kapsula da Ojitan Rinpoche di Malona ya legirela tene ge chimbo ni lune dang semne se ni kuguyore.
Generally, when we're meditating, as Rinpoche says, without necessarily reading it, there are two things that are important. There are the points of the body and the points of the mind.
Ta ngarang sogi tajur jamarba lotsawa njagala norpenjen la soba da metribal kumneni shubi kansula ya de kongla dama karina yores na ludila tenechi nganjo namna chudun ya la gore kashana kongdela chunga daba jore dan lu zhang na za zhang na long zhang na tene samsal se tende yong gore tende lu ki de zu de zo judan de zo be ge chen bore.
So when Marpa went to India, he studied with the Mahapandita Naropa and with Maitrepa. And what did they teach in terms of posture? They taught it in terms of the 7 points of Vairochana, or sometimes they taught about it in terms of 5 points of posture. In either case, what is important is that if your body is straight, then the channels within it are straight. If the channels are straight, then the winds or energies also run straight. And if those run straight, then the mind is clear. And so for this reason, our bodily posture is extremely important. In our Kagyu tradition, we think about interdependence as being really important. So we have a saying that says, prepare the interdependence in the body and realization will appear in the mind.
Tambodi circurvicial minds. Nibody, Tenel Lomyan Nangan Zunai, Tusam Gomsum la Tamba Yang Mades, Yang Sona, Corvale, Targimares, Ta, somebody, and then Aranzo Com Yamlen Chiginaya, then Yamla, Shemades, Toba Boton Young Mares, Yang Mares, then the Genepe, Sebuch somebody Tengido.
Once I had the wonderful opportunity to hear Chamgun Tai Sita Rinpoche teach on the Vajradhara here in this very shrine room. And I clearly remember one thing that he said. He said, do not be distracted, do not be distracted, do not be distracted, 3 times. So why did he say it 3 times? Well, the first time is to say that we must not be attached to the phenomena of samsara. And so we must not be distracted by them. The second is that we must not be distracted by the meaning of the texts. We must not be distracted by thinking about what we have studied. And the third is that when we meditate, we must not be distracted by experiences, because if we are distracted and attached to experiences, then our meditation will not be able to improve or be enhanced. So I remember Sita Rinpoche saying this very clearly.
Dile yengme gomji ngöshiri lamana yengna gomji ngöshiri sungyo mare yengme gomdi chagya chimbo gom ngöshiri sung yore.
And so here it says non-distraction is the core of meditation. So if you are distracted, it's not the main practice or the main body of main core of meditation.
The din namnang chudun the ne tab de bochini da shugin duzuki and geba den de shedena tenya duzu dangi mendo tenya sem sap tobachani sem dabo mendo ani cholru go ngaraya sem de tempo sharamen ten namdo pe zingru go.
All right. So I thought I would speak about the 7 points of Vairochana in a kind of easy way, because if we talk about it too much and we think too much, then our mind's going to get kind of disturbed and agitated.
Salboje shego samna yang gebare rodo gebaje nane tyoze mendo ta dende je dugala dor dubu arang inde mede shadashe shig mendo.
So when I try to teach, if I try to teach something in brief, then it always ends up coming out long, and then I'm not clear. I'm not able to get it out quite the way I want to. It's just I don't have the education to do that, so it's not comfortable, or it's not pleasant for me.
당가디 통보간 대야디 계란줄 시그레니레지 삽지 슈툼나 samla penna samla demana ting happen yam ta trabada ming top kone tobe trabada de samlo me ngarang.
So as I sit here on this throne, I'm thinking to myself, if I could just say a few things that might be helpful for you. Like I don't have any wish for like to be, to show off or for you all to, to become famous or anything like that.
To din namnang chudin di ta tambo dene la da dinala Rinpoche ki sung shabada ma jorgin labo ni nyambar shas ta chidang gende chine dewe wone sorshi ki tegala de jago gore check.
So among the 7 points of Vairochana, to speak about it from Rinpoche's text, the first of them is that your hands should be placed evenly. So this means that the hands should be placed one on top of the other and resting 4 finger widths below your navel. So this is the first point.
강알 텐데 trebadan ten zane shunyung me baten de yongse ta de so gubja gang shugyo na re ten de so de ji gangba de so thome me ba nyambo shwe de gechambore.
And the second point is to sit with your legs in Vajra posture. Now, sometimes this is, usually we have different bodies and some people are not so comfortable. Sometimes it's not comfortable or it's difficult to do that. And so it's not necessarily absolutely to sit in the Vajra posture, but what's important is that your legs be even. Now, the third point is that your spine should be straight. So basically, you should be sitting up straight.
So
you can't, lean to the left, lean to the right, lean back, or lean forward. So it's as I said before, because if your body is not straight, then the channels won't be straight. And if the channels aren't straight, then the winds won't be straight. And if the winds are not straight, then your mind will not be clear. Now the fourth point is that you should tuck your chin slightly. So you shouldn't bend it too far forward, but it's kind of like straight, just sort of naturally. And you should open your shoulders like a vulture's wings. And so if you have your hands in your lap in the Vajra posture, then it's just naturally going to do it. There's not like any need to do it artificially. And then the next point is that our eyes should be gazing ahead. They should be gazing either at the tip of your nose, or you can gaze in the space 4 finger widths in front of your nose. It's either way, but your eyes should be open. Your eyes shouldn't be closed, they should be open, but not wide open either. So just open your eyes. It's as it is said, gaze straight ahead with Vajra eyes. It's like when we look at all the Buddha statues. When we look at a Buddha statue, the Buddha's eyes are open. The Buddhas don't have closed eyes, right? So you should have your eyes open, just like the statue, the eyes in a Buddha statue. And the last point is that your tongue should be touching your upper palate. So you should the tip of your tongue should be touching your upper palate, but basically this just means that you're letting your tongue rest naturally. And so if your bodily posture is good, then your mind will naturally be relaxed.
Chilla droba, nangla yomba, neba, droba, that in the Tangatsidu, Tangani Staje Bardo. Then the same the Shenla Mayana, Tangatsitugore, send the Shenla, Tangachitugore. Then Ugdi, Trodigore, Chipjunaju, Tangatala, Sem de Mayana, Yingme de Garan Netugore, Mikbachila and Sem Shana, Yin La Garsona, the Zuch, the Chase of Madang Bana, Mikba Digala, La Sem de Netugore, Tela Yingme, S. Lagore, Tap de Bajabana.
And then so that is the bodily posture. And then for the points of the mind, we need to have our mind be undistracted. As it says, non-distraction is the core of meditation. And so we have to rest our mind on a focus. And in order to do this, we have to apply our mindfulness and awareness. Now, what we do mostly as beginners is we meditate on the breath. We meditate on the breath going out, then breathing back in, and then staying, then holding for a moment. And we do that up to 21 times. And if you are not distracted, you'll be able to count up to 21. If you get distracted, you're going to forget where you are and won't be able to count. And so you want to be undistracted so you can count up to 21 breaths, because we're always breathing. And so when we have that breath as like the focus of our meditation, when we are focusing on the breath and things happen on either side of us, but we aren't distracted by them, then that means that we're undistracted on the focus. If we aren't following the things that happen, and so this is being non-distracted.
Tachidang Dinsang Komdi, Kera Chimbo Yore, Enayang, Tene Samlotang la Kebar Chimbo Yore, Kashegita, Lega Ki, Kangal, then the Nature Komji Jabdugala, Sem de Lulu Chaya, Tungal din Egap Mayoya, Tender Samlo de Tendetandugala, Tasem Com Japsa Lebanare, Tene Dicapsulas, Sem de Lulu Shadugala, Kangal de Samlo Korgo Amare, Nyogra de Samlo Korgo Amare, Kibu Dajore. Tadi comredo something, he would the lobody. Tandini, ya lance of Jala, Nokta Rangjayore, and Kanga Rangjayore, Kanga Yanta was Shetuku Amara, Anjutaki, Shine Sindi, Yumba Shigores, to some Shigores, Lame, Yumba Pangores, Comja, the Miyuti Remana, the Nechi, Nekap Kibu and some, the Neki Miyuti Mare.
There are a lot of different types of meditation. Of course, meditation is very well known, but there are many different types of it. So a lot of people, when we meditate, it's like stress reduction. It's like you have a lot of busyness at work, you have difficulties or problems, and so you sit down and you meditate, and while you're meditating, it's just relaxed and comfortable, stress-free. And you enjoy it. But then the moment you get up, then all of your stresses in your work and your business and problems all come back. So that's not the type of meditation we need. When we talk about the shamatha meditation, shama means to pacify or to be peaceful. And what we're pacifying are the three poisons. So the idea of doing shamatha or meditation is to pacify the three poisons. It's not in order to achieve very pleasure.
Namjun Shine, since Sikurang la Jaman, Shine Numon Shiwa Yins, Tanumon Batoja Shadan Timo Tamje, Shine, Ting Ola, Zejito, Nebas, Shine, Sindhi Jabore.
So the explanation given for the word shamatha is that shama means to pacify, And ta means to stay. So shamatha, shama means to pacify the afflictions, to pacify your greed, hatred, and desire, and then to rest one-pointedly on its nature. That is the ta, or the staying.
대화 나는 대화 초도죠 남녀 산지죠 고만 토부고도 샘로데 요레데 디 람라 간스랍고도 디다 람데 단나가라서 고무고고래 콤버체 발라 담보 따와디 귤라 끼고고래 드네 딘데인도가라 드네가저 류남난 초된 야보지 자 디젤라 샘기 샤답도 야보지 셰고고래 데 영매 쓰긴디 다 안가란속이 조디 검기값을라 드네 템바데 베 게쳔보래 전시당 방유의 배 개장벌 된데 내나 내유가라 내바 모신 내바데 맞아버제 남도지 교송나야 교송 삼도 교주바데 모셔버제 내디 디 제소 마당 나 제소 장나 마오마로 eng도 그래 eng범에 발레도 말해 모셔잠 전에 디 미된도 전에 검사나 되기어래.
And so basically, when we're meditating, we need to sit in the 7-point posture of Vairochana, and then we need to meditate. We need to meditate simply and comfortably. And so we need, in order to meditate, then we need to train our mind. So how is it that we train in our mind? We train our mind by meditating. But in order to meditate, we first have to have the view. We need to develop the view within our being. So we first sit in the 7 points of Vairochana, and then we learn the ways to rest the mind. And when we're resting the mind, then what's important is to be undistracted. And in order to be undistracted, the main thing is that we have to have mindfulness. We have to have mindfulness, awareness, and carefulness. And so whatever it is that we are resting in, when we're resting, we should just be aware that we are resting. And then when a thought suddenly comes, then you should recognize the thought and not chase after it. Just recognize it, because if we do chase after the thought, then we get distracted, and then we are not really resting. We're not undistracted. So when a thought occurs, we just have to merely recognize whatever occurs.
징벌로나 졸와 태좀메 샘들라 다다기 셰바들라 소주 가양 마당 다 랑기 샘라 랑기 따 수제네 내가라 흘르 샤나 되네 디 담드나 되네 가스나 용마 샘디 어쩌고 말했어 디가라 흘르 샤들라 라되네 전신 맞제바다나 태좀메바 되네 샘기 내로디 통용 그레스 제용 그레스 모시 그레스.
And so Tilopa said in one of his songs, just rest without altering, rest without altering, and if you loosen the bonds, then you'll be freed. And so what Tilopa is saying is that what is important is that we need to look at our mind. And to do that, we just need to not bind ourselves. If we relax what binds us, then we'll be able to look at our mind, and when we and then look at our own minds and just rest. If you are too tight, then you'll be unable to rest, and so you relax and you apply your mindfulness and awareness. And if you do this, you're definitely able to see the nature of the mind. You'll be able to experience and the nature of the mind and to meditate on it. And so first we have to look at our own minds ourselves. And when we look at our own minds in this way, then we'll be able to see the clear, empty nature of know the clear, empty nature of the mind. And then once we do that, then we just rest in that without becoming distracted. So usually when we meditate, what we think to ourselves is oh, I'm going to start thinking, it'll be bad. So we have this fear of thoughts. Sometimes we have this hope, oh, I want not to have any thoughts. But when we are meditating on Mahamudra, we must have neither any hopes or any fears. So usually 매당 사와 나신 추단 렘바 나신 송도 주바래들 때든지 하거나 살동 송주스 다치 나와 강나 강로금나 낭신도 낭이 코랑기 몰랐다나 된 나와대야 마주바든지 또서나 낭동 송주스 다든지 명다용 거데 명디 거르다나데 조데 셈땡라 타초도 버지 모셰도 버지 라초도 버지 고고래. And in terms of our view, we talk about it as being the union of clarity and emptiness, the union of appearance and emptiness, the union of bliss and emptiness. But whatever we call it, this is something that we have to come to know in our own minds. We need to recognize within our own minds. And so what this means is that when we rest our minds, when we are resting in the mind, looking at the mind, then it knows. That knowing is the clarity. But when we look at the essence of that knowing, then we can't find it. We can't describe. There's nothing there that we can identify or describe. That is the emptiness. That clarity and the emptiness are not separate. They cannot be parted from each other. It's kind of like heat and fire, or like fire and heat, or water and wetness. So this is like resting in the nature of the mind. Or when we look at the external appearances, as we look at the appearance that is, then we see that it doesn't exist of its own. And in this way, it is the union of appearance and emptiness. Whatever it is, we need to know this within our own mind. We need to come to recognize it within our own minds and determine it in our own minds.
Tadilla that's Zawetsila Yangme Komji, Mujus Sumbajin, Kangshardo be San Namdo, Ta, Taminazo Chargires, Tenesoma Segindia, Danakapsula Majubala Gores, Tadangi Sarba, Tadakabso, Namto Sarba Mamboshas, the Cheso Madam Bajene, Tenerambosha, Majuberjas, Machu Tegarjo, Majuba Shochena, Tenecomchendres, Majuba Shamachena, Tecomchen Mareta. Then come one day, Tana Kondu Shuban, some Ladu, Time, some Saldongi Ranidella, Comja Guy Yomare, Comja Lodan Tower, Chingelos, Tilagidoa. The next Chargemolam Gala, you are Ichi Tower, then the charges, Tadanda, Umachimbe, the new Kundu of Jensen just Ichil Tower, Lola Table, Tadan.
So as it says in the prayer, the meditator just remains not altering at all the fresh and pristine essence of whatever thought occurs. So thoughts are going to occur. And when they do occur, then what's important is that we don't follow them, we just rest looking, don't alter them at any way. So here the word fresh means, the fresh and pristine essence means that it's unaltered. You just leave it as it is. And if you leave it, and if you're able to rest within it without contriving or altering it, then you are a great meditator. And so you are actually able to meditate. And so when we actually, within the nature of the mind, that is the union of clarity and emptiness, there's actually no meditator and nothing meditated upon. And so when we are doing the Mahamudra meditation, it should be as is taught in the third Karmapa Rangchen Dorje's aspiration of Mahamudra. Free of mental action, it is free of mental action, it is Mahamudra. Free of extremes, it is the great middle way. It is also the great union of the because it is a perfection of everything. It is the great Dzogchen. So when we are practicing Mahamudra, it should be free of any mental acting or mental doing, and free of any extremes. That is the meditation of Mahamudra.
남준 아니 말아서 검잡견도들라 마셔봐샤 루보라샤 다든에서 르게 르라 식게 식서 다든에 디조 냠네 낭인도서게 하고로 만나지 서로와 필링디 하고로 만나지 냠네 마셔견라 디조 셴나야 가인 그것이라 주 말해.
So often when we talk about meditation, we talk about like resting without altering, just resting loosely, resting relaxed, resting naturally, being loose and relaxed. If you know how to meditate, then you know what this means. But if you don't know how to meditate, you're going to wonder, what does this mean? How is this going to happen?
고비 대 각보 요래 람나 뮤직 람나 오 고비 각보 요사래 삼마나 된 소소가 마도나 각보 조원용도 말해 불람 대 나르모 요레스 아나 오 나르모 요사래 삼마나 제 소소 마사나 나르모 조원용도 말 소소하고 통고래 되네 소소게 하고 그래.
So basically what I'm saying is that you have to do the meditation. If you do the meditation, then you'll be able to understand. You'll be able to recognize it. You'll be able to say, oh, this is what it is. You'll recognize what it is. Otherwise, if you just say union of clarity of emptiness, the union of appearance and emptiness, and it's just words, it doesn't really help anyone. It doesn't benefit you. It's kind of like with coffee. If you're going to drink coffee, then you're going to, and then you can say, oh, coffee is bitter, and you know what it means. If you haven't drunk coffee, then you don't know what it means to say coffee is bitter. It's also like that with what do we say, natural raw sugar. When you eat raw sugar, you know, only when you eat raw sugar can you know what it means to say that raw sugar is sweet. Only then do you have an experience of what it means to say that it's sweet. So Mahamudra is actually really simple. You just have to let your mind rest, relax without being distracted. It's really simple. And no matter where you go, you can just let your mind relax. So the words are easy, but actually remaining non-distracted is extremely difficult. So I'd like to read a few of Khenchen Trangpa Rinpoche's words. So here, the non-distraction as the core of meditation and the essence of all thoughts being the Dharmachakra are the actual practice.
남도 녀몸베 발랍제 춘네 아나 코로라 참되게 두스 된 띵에제 지 겁나야 남도 원도 쇼네 띵에제 야보 검도고 민두스.
So usually when we meditate, we think, I really want to have good meditation. I want to be able to rest in samadhi, but we are overcome by our thoughts. We're overcome by our afflictions. And because of that, our minds wander. And this is why we wander through samsara. So we try to practice meditation, but we're overcome by, or we're distracted by our thoughts.
semnamengi wando majorwa nyombome wando majorwa tense bayuge dene sem kyangongudus ya.
So when we are practicing shamatha meditation, what we need to do is we need to rest without being distracted. So we must not lose ourselves to distractions. We must not lose ourselves to the afflictions. And in order to do that, we need to apply our mindfulness, awareness, and carefulness.
Tadila sem sechik do nebe chedula shidul bayo yongwe ki chedula tan luji dudana semje shadabs ta luji dudande ta ki shu sem de karan re chikbare.
And so in order to rest our minds with concentration and with mindfulness, awareness, and carefulness, we need to practice points of body and mind. So the points of body are as I just described.
Ta semje shadab den jita mangbu sung yore dinane so tab de bodi che kambu ba ge sung bade tebe che meche maung bi dun misu datar gi shebala tekar nyambar jos.
And so, of course, there are many different ways to rest the mind, but Rinpoche describes is a very simple one that Gampopa said. Do not chase after the past, do not anticipate the future, just rest directly in the present mind.
Ta dusu me du ane teshe shimba jaymen ta zo de datar gi shebala tsechik du nyambar shana ane shingning ki tingen zindi gegiri es yingme.
And so there's not a whole lot of time to describe everything, but the main thing is that if we rest in the present as it is, and with one-pointedly, then that is the samadhi of shamatha, and it is also non-distraction.
And
so after this, we should speak about insight. So the stanza on insight reads, just as it's taught, the essence of all thoughts is Dharmachakra, not anything at all and yet arising in all ways, appearing for this meditator in unceasing play. Blessed be to know samsara and nirvana are not two.
Dila shusa bata barjada koma suba na ya kagajene shine yengmela semsha gore shadabje ta ladon di ne nelu to gore sta de shugore.
So a moment ago I was speaking about the nature of the mind as clarity and emptiness. And if you're someone who understands this, you understand that this is shamatha and it is vipassana. You can rest your mind in that. If you don't understand it, then shamatha is to rest your mind without distraction. Then insight is when you realize the nature of the mind. So when we say the essence of all thoughts is Dharmakaya, this is saying that the way the thought is, the essence of the thought, or the nature of the thought is pure. It is the Dharmakaya. Now this is not saying that the thought itself is Dharmakaya. So the nature of the mind is luminous, but the mind itself is not necessarily luminous. The mind can be confused. The thoughts can be confused. And so the nature of the mind, the essence of the mind is the Dharmakaya, is clear. So the essence of thoughts, when we examine it, is we can't find it in the past or the present. We can't find where it's where it originates from. We can't find where it stays, where it goes. When you look at it, it just kind of suddenly comes and suddenly goes. You start looking at it, it immediately disappears. You can't really say it's this, you can't say it's not that. And so when we know, it knows there, but the essence, you can't find it. And so that's what we were saying when the essence is the Dharmakaya. The nature of the mind, and when we say the nature of the mind is luminous. But what is that luminous essence of mind? It is, you can't really say what it is.
남도 시와야 요래 가르다 검진버즈 된다 짤정도 가서라 삼산 남도 라보샵죠 대응올았다 탐산 남도 시와샵죠 대응올았다 다 되죠 남도기 올았다도 가라 살동 지내와 남도 제 덴버 주변 말에 라신지 주변 말에 마주버디 아니 셰용고래.
So when a thought occurs, I mean, the thought might be a violent thought, it might be a peaceful thought. So whether it's a violent or peaceful thought, the great meditators will sometimes a violent thought will come and they'll rest in the nature of that. A peaceful thought will rest in the nature of that. But the nature of the thought is the resting in the naked nature of the thought as it is. When you look at it as it is, then you can't say it's this, you can't say it's that. It is not established as anything.
또 디엔도 되는 거라서 검잠네 다들서도 칸에 셰발라 샤핑 말을 소소고 검나 남도기 몰랐다 남도기 란신라도 남도기 뭐암 란신디 가스나 살동인 바디 약보지 셰소나 내 살동기 란신디 추구레스 남동고 추구레스라 that's meaning to start.
So when we're meditating, we can't leave it as just words. We can't just talk about it. When we meditate, we have to look at the essence of the thoughts. And when we look at the essence or the nature of the thoughts, and then we can know that it is clear and that they are clear and empty. When you really know that they're clear and empty, then that clarity and emptiness is the Dharmakaya.
나가서 남동오 축구를 송바신 지양마인 정한 다 남동오디 축구를 해서 양 상행기 남도 망보 차르기도 와서 나랑솔라 차르와당 아니 냠 렌낭에 차제 침보 똑보 주딩 간살라 차르와니라 개버 침보요래 이나다 나갑슬라 검 잡갱기 간살라 조치네 상부 찬나야 마가스 냠버 찬나야 마가스 가리나이드네 차르와 차르 침발라 되네 디 라신디 살동게 당이 바죠 모셰도 바이나 내 검젠레스 당 안수이나 검잡도 남도 랩송 바르제 중송 다 검야고 중마송 선네 샘자요레 다 남도 민두 데스 르르타워제 데위냠 살웨냠 다잖아 다 빼면서 나와 파네 다 드린 검야고 중송 야부 레송 셈베 다잉 파레도 되네 중요요레 난 나갑슬라 되네 마레스.
So the essence of a thought is Dharmakaya. So whether it's a good thought or a bad thought, for a great meditator, for someone meditating on Mahamudra, it makes no difference. So if you're a great meditator, when a great meditator is meditating, when it is a good thought, then they're not happy about it. When it's a bad thought, they're not disappointed about it. Just thought occurs. The thought occurs, and they just rest in recognizing rest in the recognition of the nature of that thought. But what happens for us ordinary meditators is when a thought occurs, then if it's a bad thought, we think, oh, this is a problem, this is an obstacle, it's not good, my meditation's no good today. Then someday when you don't have any thoughts and you have a little bit of an experience of non-thought and clarity, and you think, oh, this is wonderful meditation, I'm such a good meditator today, my meditation was wonderful today. And then you get excited about that. But that's not how it should be. Just whatever it occurs, as it says as it says in this, not anything at all, and yet appearing in all rise, appearing for this meditator in unceasing play.
대가르다니.
And so to just go and brief through some of the points that Khenchen Trongpa Rinpoche mentions in his commentary, there are two ways we can look at the mind. We can take inference as the path, and we can take perception as the path. When we take inference as the path, this is primarily using the strength of our intelligence and logic. When we're taking perception as the path, this is the way it is practiced in the secret mantra Vajrayana. This is primarily looking directly at the nature of the mind.
Rinpoche dila namdo ki ngode kangradu tado tangbo kangne jang maje pardo kangdo yang mane tama kangdo yang mandros tende sonjado ta keka nesum dan chalwa chires ta tabdeba chemena.
So Rinpoche also then speaks about when we look at the nature of the mind, when we look at a thought, when it arises, we look to see where did it come from. Then we think, where does it stay? Then where did it go when it's gone? You look at these three different places where the thought might be, and so you rest looking at this. And so this is Rinpoche's description. And if we're able to meditate on this well, then there is no samsara to be given up, nor any nirvana to be attained. The samsara and nirvana are the same, they're the same, and they're not separable. And then the final verse reads, in all my future lifetimes may I never be apart from the authentic gurus and embrace the Dharma's glory. May I perfect the qualities of all the paths and levels, and may I swiftly realize the state of Vajradhara. So in all of my future lifetimes, may I never be apart from the authentic gurus who teach the Dharma. So all my present and future lives, may I never be apart from the Dharma, and may be able to practice the Dharma with great effort to perfect the qualities of all the paths and levels. And so by being diligent about the Dharma, may we gradually progress through the 10 levels and the 5 paths to achieve the result of the Vajradhara, of the Dharmakaya Vajradhara. So we need to make the aspiration to achieve this. And so we've had this teaching on the Vajradhara lineage prayer for the last 3 days, and I feel very fortunate to have been able to give the teaching. I feel like it's a great merit for myself. So I'd like to ask you all to please dedicate all the merit of teaching and listening to the Dharma so that all sentient beings may achieve the lasting happiness of Buddhahood. We haven't much time for more explanation.
English textbook page number 619. English textbook page number 619. Song the Vavanti Liu San Ri Chao Ye, Liu Bai San Ri Chao Ye, Liu Bai San Ri Chao Ye.
Tembo Yore Nebo No Tembo Zembe Yebo No Ngoze Gyaze Tenyo Je Jangwe Nyeje Razo Marmo Bo Jangwe Dele Jigde Marmo Bo Jangwe